What happens behind the glitz and glamour of the music industry can be darker than anyone imagines. Grammy winner Usher took the witness stand in a federal trial that has rocked the world, revealing chilling secrets about a hidden empire run by Shaun Diddy Combmes. And what he shared isn't just surprising, it could change everything we thought we knew about fame and power. In a courtroom where silence fell like a heavy curtain, Usher Raymond appeared not to talk about music or label fights, but to expose a world hidden from the public eye. As a 14-year-old mentored by Shaun Diddy Combmes, Usher witnessed the dark side of the industry firsthand, a truth he had kept buried for years. This testimony breaks decades of silence on what really happens behind the scenes where power and control often rule over talent and dreams. What Usher revealed has stunned fans and insiders alike, exposing a system built on secrecy, manipulation, and survival. The story is far from over, and it forces everyone watching to reconsider what fame really costs. As we dive into the details of his courtroom revelations, get ready to see a side of the music world that few have dared to speak about. This isn't just about one man or one career. This is a reckoning for an entire industry long cloaked in shadows. Usher's unexpected testimony. In a courtroom where silence fell like a heavy curtain, Usher Raymond appeared not to talk about music or label fights, but to expose a world hidden from the public eye. As a 14-year-old mentored by Shaun Diddy Combmes, Usher witnessed the dark side of the industry firsthand, a truth he had kept buried for years. He recounted how his mother told him he was going to live with Diddy in New York, fresh off his debut album and eager to rise in the ranks of the music industry. What none of them expected was the kind of world Usher was walking into. When he entered Diddy's Midtown Manhattan penthouse, he found himself surrounded by excess. Champagne on breakfast trays, strangers waking up in rooms he never knew existed, and people he later recognized from TV lounging half-dressed or passed out. Usher described it as more of a flavor camp, something he first thought was just branding, but later realized stood for indulgence. The mentorship quickly shifted from music to lifestyle, with Diddy encouraging him to stop asking questions and learn by watching. One night, he woke up at 3 a.m. to find masked people entering the apartment, candles lit the hallway, music playing low, and a ritualistic party taking place that shocked him to his core. Told to go back to bed, he didn't sleep that night, as the scene changed how he viewed Diddy forever. Usher testified that warnings never came from those around him. The record label, his mother, and industry insiders all stayed silent and unaware of the true nature of Diddy's power. People thought Diddy was eccentric, but he exerted quiet, absolute control that dictated the fate of many careers. Usher hinted that others like him had been pulled into Diddy's orbit, promised fame, but slowly ensnared in a world they couldn't fully understand at the time. This testimony marked a turning point, shedding light on a hidden empire of manipulation and control in the music industry. The reality behind Flavor Camp. What began as a promising mentorship quickly morphed into something sinister. Usher described arriving at Diddy's Midtown penthouse to a scene of wild indulgence, champagne on breakfast trays, strangers waking up in rooms he didn't know existed. People he later recognized from TV and magazines lounge half-dressed or passed out. It wasn't a home, it was a scene. He called it the Flavor Camp. Usher said, "I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was just branding," but later realized it meant indulgence. The mentorship wasn't about music lessons or performance, it was about absorbing the lifestyle, partying with celebrities, and stopping the questions. He was told, "This is how we do it. You don't ask, you just watch. Learn by watching. That's how grown men roll." One night, at around 3 a.m., Usher woke up to masked people entering the apartment, low music, candles lining the hallway. The living room was hosting what he could only describe as a ritualistic party. Cameras, lists, and no one acting surprised. It felt surreal, like maybe he had walked into a movie set, but deep down he knew he shouldn't be seeing this. Told to go back to bed, Usher didn't sleep that night. That moment changed how he saw Diddy forever. It wasn't just about excess. It was a dark underworld hidden behind the music, and Usher was forced to witness it all at an age no teenager should be exposed to. A Caribbean trip and growing control. One particularly disturbing moment in Usher's testimony came when he described a private trip to the Caribbean Diddy took him on when he was 15. It was supposed to be a retreat, just me, him, and a couple others. The place was isolated, no press, no cameras, and that's where I realized I wasn't there to learn anything about music. He paused. I won't go into everything, but what I will say is that I wasn't given a choice about the environment I was placed in, and it took me years to understand the manipulation. The courtroom was silent. Usher said that after the trip, his relationship with Diddy changed. The mogul became more controlling. There were always new people around, always more parties, always more rules. And every time Usher pushed back even slightly, he was reminded who made his career. He told me, "You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Remember who gave you this life." Usher ended the segment by looking directly at Diddy. "You didn't give me this life, you gave me nightmares." The binding silence of confidentiality. At 16, Usher was faced with a document that would change everything. It wasn't just a typical music contract, but a confidentiality agreement that demanded more than silence. This NDA concealed strict clauses about private events, behaviors, and an unspoken expectation: do not speak out. Usher recalled not fully understanding the words, signing it because he trusted the people around him, including his mother, who co-signed, and the label's lawyers who assured him it was standard. But looking back, it was clear this contract was a tool to suppress truth and maintain control. It locked him into a silence that spanned years. When probing questions surfaced in 2009, and an interview became personal, legal threats arrived quickly to enforce that silence. Letters reminding him of the NDA's terms, and veiled warnings from people tied to the empire reminded Usher that breaking this silence could cost him far more than fame. The courtroom gasped as he revealed the contract specifically prohibited any unauthorized recordings or reproductions, which took on a darker meaning considering allegations of secret video libraries within the empire. Usher's voice cracked as he admitted the contract made him question his own memories, making him feel as if all he saw and felt wasn't real because he was forbidden from speaking. This binding silence was more than legal. It was psychological, trapping a young artist in fear and confusion, preventing him from exposing the abuse hidden behind the glittering surface. It wasn't just a piece of paper, but a chain holding him hostage to a grim reality for years. The Secret Mansion Party. A lavish Atlanta mansion party unveiled a hidden door and masked figures. Shrouded in secrecy and unease, Usher peeked behind that door and glimpsed a disturbing reality that haunted him to this day, an event that shattered his image of mentorship forever. The house was filled with celebrities, models, and mysterious men who didn't seem connected to the music industry at all, marble floors glistening under the low lights, security stationed at every entrance. Usher was just 17, yet what he saw was far from anything a young artist should experience. "You're not ready for that yet," Diddy whispered to a security guard as a locked door was opened. That night, behind the secret door, people wore masks, their faces hidden, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and confusion. Usher said, "I didn't know what I was looking at, but he instinctively knew it wasn't right." The party wasn't just lavish. It was a carefully controlled environment where power and control ruled. Usher's account revealed a world hidden beneath the surface of fame and fortune, where secrecy was enforced, and those who were not ready were kept in the dark. The courtroom shifted uncomfortably as this image was painted, everyone aware they were hearing something never shared before. That night changed Usher, marking a loss of innocence and a glimpse into an industry's darkest shadows. His testimony hinted at many more untold stories, behind closed doors, secrets protected by silence. This party was just one piece of a larger puzzle, a symbol of how the game is played in the shadows where vulnerability is a liability. Usher's courage to reveal this chilling memory opened the door for others to come forward, promising that the silence is finally breaking. Blocked opportunities and a dark deal in Miami. In 1997, at just 18 years old, Usher was invited by Shaun Diddy Combmes to meet a powerful music investor in Miami, someone who could fund his first world tour and help build his brand. Usher thought it was all about business, a major break in his career, and Diddy hyped it up like no other opportunity he'd ever seen. He told Usher to dress sharp, be polite, and get ready for the big moment. But when Usher arrived at the penthouse suite of the City Hotel, he quickly realized this wasn't a typical business meeting. Instead of executives or producers, there were three men lounging in robes, drinking high-end champagne, while several young women sat quietly in the background. One man, who Usher said was from overseas, asked him if he wanted to be remembered forever, making it clear this wasn't about music. Usher felt trapped, left alone with these mysterious figures. Although they didn't touch him, one put a hand on his shoulder and warned him, "You can stay or you can leave, but you'll never get another invitation like this again." Usher left, and soon after, things began to change. Opportunities that were once promised suddenly vanished. A tour he was meant to join disappeared, and a key producer pulled out of working with him without explanation. No one told Usher those doors shut because he declined that Miami meeting, but he knew why. Diddy's empire was about power, and saying no came at a heavy price. This night marked a turning point, revealing the dangerous reality behind the scenes, where talent was no longer the key to success. Submission was. It was a silent warning that fame in this world came with strings, held tightly by those who controlled the game. The fate of other artists and silent settlements. Usher revealed a pattern. Artists promised mentorship only to be discarded when they questioned the system. Internal documents showed millions owed but withheld, secret meetings quashed before they began, and a vanished artist whose fear still lingers in the shadows. Several artists had quietly taken settlements, accepting small sums just to regain rights to their own names or perform their own songs. Usher described how he once tried to organize a secret meeting in 2011 to address collective grievances, but it never happened because someone tipped Diddy off. This showed how tightly controlled the environment was. He also spoke of instances when Diddy ordered the destruction of demo tapes and footage of artists who threatened to speak out. That artist has since disappeared from public life. Usher said, "I don't know where he is. Nobody does. But I remember his voice, and I remember that he was scared." This chilling truth silenced the courtroom. These stories reveal a frightening system that used power and intimidation to keep artists compliant. It wasn't just business, it was control that extended beyond music. It trapped talented young artists in contracts and silence, while using threats to stop anyone from breaking free. Many faded away without the public ever knowing the real reasons why. Usher's testimony exposed how the culture of silence was maintained by fear, manipulation, and financial blackmail. It highlighted a dark side of the industry where artists often paid the highest price for fame. And it hinted that the truth remains buried as long as those in power continue to protect their own interests. The long-haul trauma and breaking the silence. The weight of this hidden world eventually cracked Usher. Haunted by panic attacks and nightmares tied to his past, he sought help in secret. Diagnosed with PTSD, he finally found his voice not just for himself, but for countless others silenced by the industry's darkest secrets. Usher testified that after years of hiding his torment, the trauma began manifesting in ways he couldn't ignore. Panic attacks struck unexpectedly, triggered by flashing lights, tight crowds, and even certain types of music that brought memories flooding back. It was a connection he did not understand at first, until one chilling night in New York. Staying in a hotel, coincidentally the site of a former infamous party, Usher was overwhelmed by a familiar scent of candles. His body froze, shaking and struggling for air. This moment marked the breaking point. Rushed to a private mental health facility under a false name, he spent 5 days under observation. In sessions with a psychiatrist, Usher shared truths he had never spoken aloud. He revealed seeing things no child should see, living in an environment where power meant silence, and survival demanded a forced smile. The diagnosis of PTSD stunned everyone, highlighting the long-term effects of what was hidden behind closed doors. Despite his fame and fortune, Usher was caught in a silent battle that many others in the industry face alone. He hinted at others who had suffered similar fates, artists who quietly vanished, battled addiction, or worse, but were too fearful to expose the truth. For years, he carried guilt and fear, believing he owed loyalty in silence. Now, standing strong, he embraces the courage to speak out. His testimony shines a harsh light on an industry that too often sacrifices its youngest and most vulnerable for fame's price. This moment isn't just about one artist's struggle, it's a call to break the cycle of silence and demand change. Usher's testimony pulls back the curtain on an entertainment empire built on secrecy, control, and exploitation, revealing a world far removed from the spotlight's glamour. This isn't just a story about one man, but a call to confront a whole system that thrives in silence. The chilling details shared expose how power can corrupt, and how the cost of fame often comes with unimaginable sacrifices, far beyond what the public ever sees. His courage in breaking decades of silence shines a light on what so many have suffered, urging us all to listen and never look away. It's a haunting reminder that behind every hit record, every sold-out show, there may be silent struggles and unseen battles fought by those we admire. Usher's voice echoes not just for himself, but for countless others silenced by fear and control. What this trial uncovers could forever change how we view the music industry and the prices young artists pay in pursuit of their dreams. And as the courtroom remains hushed, the world watches closely, waiting to see if the truth finally brings long overdue justice.